Good evening. My name is Adriana Gooden. I am a director of Project Discovery Barbados. I'm glad that all of you were able to join us here for our annual business meeting for the year ended the 31st of August, 2021 today. I would like to acknowledge our other directors from Project Discovery Barbados, Jamari Gaskin and Ramona King. I'd also like to acknowledge our directors of Project Discovery, Inc., Mr. Tyrone King, Miss Kemi Brewster, Mr. Gregdon Griffith, and Miss Tamara King, who is absent today due to other commitments. I would also like to acknowledge Ms. Adele Archibald, the president of Project Discovery, St. Kitts and Nevis. Mr. Kamali Powell, vice president of Project Discovery, Jamaica. Ms. Felicia John, chairperson of the board of directors for Project Discovery, Trinidad and Tobago. Also, Ms. Camille Greenidge, Project Discovery Barbados Special Advisor. Ms. Sarah Weeks, Project Discovery Trinidad and Tobago Special Advisor. Ms. Nima Hazel, Project Discovery St. Kitts and Nevis Special Advisor. Ms. Carol Davis and Mr. Jason Downer, Project Discovery Jamaica Special Advisors. Mr. Adam Clark, Technical Advisor for our boat project. Mr. Stephen Johnson, St. Stephen Cub Scouts. Mrs. Ayo Burrows, Deputy Chairperson of the Board of Trustees for Legacy Foundation. Mr. Wade Wiggins, Outreach Coordinator. Mrs. Stacia Austin from the Ellerslie School, Mrs. Mitchell Maxwell from Springer Memorial School, Miss Wendine Prince from St. Albans Primary, and all teachers and youth development practitioners from Barbados and across the Caribbean. We also welcome members of Project Discovery Barbados and other chapters across the region who are joining us today. Members of the press, ladies and gentlemen. Members of our St. Kitts and Nevis chapters were not able to make it, but I believe they sent a message. A correction, for St. Stephen's Scout Group, it is Everett Johnson. We will start off with a background of project discovery, and this will be presented by our communications officer, Tariq Ben.
Good evening, everyone. Again, I say welcome to our annual business meeting. My name is Tariq Ben, and I'll just give you a short introduction on project discovery. Just give a bit of a moment for the screen to be displayed. All right, I won't keep you waiting. Don't need a screen for the information. Okay, so it's coming. All right, good. So I'll just give a brief introduction on what project discovery is, who we are, and a bit of our background. So we, Project Discovery, are a nonprofit community service learning program for youth in the Caribbean. We seek to help develop the PDBds, that is what we call our members, in everyone. Our mission encompasses three main goals: to facilitate the development of students at the pre-university stage of their development, to make students more globally aware, culturally literate, civically engaged, and responsive to the needs of others, to build clearly defined bridges linking academic development to community service. These are just our three main missions that we always use as a guide for anything we do. I'll give you a short history of what Project Discovery is. Project Discovery was first started on the island of Barbados in the year 2008. The project started as a passion of our founder, Mr. Tyrone King, and 9 students, and it has grown significantly since its inception. Over the last 12 years, we have directly impacted approximately 2,500 young persons, ages 14 to 25 across the Caribbean. Many of them who are now grown look back at their experiences as good fun and educational, and many still give back and support the new members. Additionally, we have impacted thousands more through our projects and our various outreaches that we have done, both young and old. More detail will be discussed later in the meeting on that. Moreover, the organization which started in Barbados has now expanded outside of our borders. We have a chapter on the island of Trinidad and Tobago, established in 2016, Jamaica, which was established in 2018, St. Kitts and Nevis in 2019, and also in 2019, we started to have a presence in the island of Grenada, and we look forward to establishing more chapters, not only regionally, but internationally. We have a couple programs that we as Project Discovery use to assist the persons that we work with. We have something called SEAS, Studying Excellence and Success. This involves educating on time management. This is for young people, teachers, professionals. We also have seminars for parents and students to aid with the selecting of tertiary education. Plus, we have entrepreneurship programs with Ernst & Young and other companies to help our members get work experience and get accustomed to how the workforce is. We also have a stress management course, as we understand that many of us get very wrapped up in the business and the flow of life and get very overwhelmed, and you lose productivity when you feel very stressed. One of the other programs that we have is also the advocacy, research, and documentation. This is to get young people to research and document and advocate for changes, because the best way to change and to start for change is to understand the systems in place and to make educated suggestions. So discussions that we have held were about the COVID and its response, and CXC's response, and the impact of COVID, and some solutions Barbados came up with, and even solutions that Project Discovery has come up with to ensure that it is not a stumbling block or hindrance to us, and a successful regional program on breast cancer, which was just to have an open forum that we were able to bring in some persons who are survivors of breast cancer to speak to some of the young women and men alike, because we all need to understand how this affects persons. And we look forward to having a lot more discussions and forums like this. Our next one is the innovation and development. This is a program that allows the technically minded in our group to have an opportunity to put their mind to various projects. For instance, the Bolt project. Yes, it started in May. It started, and it may be it's an exciting initiative to provide 100% connectivity for all of the schools that we would like to get it in. This will be discussed later. I'm not going to go into greater detail. We have some other projects on the way, and some that we have worked on before. I know we've worked on a hovercraft, and we even worked on a solar panel system. The next thing we as Project Discovery do is our scholarship and student assistance. We have been able to help more than 30 students continue their education to a higher level, as we believe no one should be limited by any circumstances from being a success. As of this year, we were not able to do as many scholarships, but this same initiative, the same program was used to help many households and impact those that were hardest hit by the COVID-19 shutdowns, as many persons were unable to work and to get money. So then what we did was we stepped in by providing hampers and things like that, that the children will have something to eat, but not just the children, but also help the family on a whole, and the toiletries and things like that, so that are necessary to continue in life. Now, something that is very much our flagship program is our Carry Fed, but that's what we love to call it, but is the Caribbean Youth Forum on Environment and Development. And this is an annual forum that is held on a different Caribbean island every year, and where young people meet up for a residential conference. So everybody stays in the one place that we're going to have it to discuss and brainstorm on the theme of the year. It was held in 2019, and sadly it was canceled in 2020. And we understand why that was, but we do look forward for it being held in the following year. And that more will be said on that and the experience that many persons have had through Carry Fed. In my closing, I will say you can also check our website to stay up to date on all PD regional updates. Anything that's happening in any of the islands, you can find information there. Also follow us on Instagram at Project Discovery 246, and what is happening specifically in Barbados. I will provide a link for both of those inside of the chat. And I will now be handing back over to the chair of the meeting, Adriana Gooding. Thank you.
Thank you, Tariq. Next, we will just have some words from our Project Discovery Trinidad chapter, followed by Project Discovery Jamaica.
Hi, good evening, everybody. My name is Karen Weeks, and I am the Executive Director at Project Discovery Trinidad and Tobago. Felicia initially was supposed to do the welcome to us, but she just had some connectivity problems. So it's my privilege to step in on her behalf. And I just want to bring you all greetings from Project Discovery Trinidad and Tobago. We, as you would have heard, were formed in 2016, and we have been following under the leadership that we would have received before from Mr. King. And some of the members here, some of them not actively involved, you would have heard of Mrs. Sarah Weeks' involvement before. So I would have joined through her, that's my wife, in case you're wondering. And we continue to create educational spaces for learning for the youth through community service, through community-based service projects as well here. COVID has hit all of us hard and in Trinidad and Tobago as well. And what we hope to achieve as PDTT out of this meeting is to see how a more established group would have navigated through the pandemic, and also just to learn, I believe, through the collaboration and the differences of opinion and thought and stuff, that we could learn some things that can be implemented here as well. So greetings from Trinidad and Tobago to everybody again, and thanks a million for having us and considering us in your meeting. I pass back to you, Ms. Gooding.
Go ahead. Trinidad Project Discovery, Jamaica is next.
Master of Ceremony, Ms. Andrea Gooding, Chairpersons, Directors of Project Discovery Barbados. On behalf of Project Discovery Jamaica, it is my pleasure to bring greetings and commend you all on the fantastic work you have been doing in the past year. Allow me to first apologize for Sean Michael Cruikshank, who has been unavoidably absent due to work engagement. It is important to note the difference in time zones. Here in Jamaica, it is like 3:31, which is the prime of the workday, which contributed to his absence. In this pandemic we're all battling, Jamaica, amidst the many no movement days and strict curfews, we were unable to carry out much of our plans. However, we are hopeful due to the increased vaccination efforts that will resume normal activities in the next year, 2021, 2022. Thank you, Project Discovery Barbados, for inviting us to be a part of this ABM, and we continue to look forward to your continued growth. Thank you all, and God bless.
Thank you very much. Next, we will have the President's report by our President, Nadia Thorpe.
Hi, good evening, everyone. Just making sure that everybody can see me and hear me well. Yes. Can everybody see and hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. So first, I just want to thank everybody who is able to make it to our ABM this evening. It has been a very rough year with COVID. So because of that, we have had some activities which we weren't able to do, unfortunately. But despite this, we were able to get some pulled off. So I'm just going to talk about those briefly first in my report, and then I will continue on. So Project Discovery Barbados, we participated in an event hosted by Variety, the children's charity of Barbados, Inc. at the St. Lawrence Anglican Church on the 19th of December, 2020. Our members participated by distributing and packaging care packages, which contained stationery and vouchers for families. Unfortunately, though, after we participated in this activity, we had a lockdown which lasted a little while, and we had more restrictions after that. So we weren't able to participate or conduct any activities during that time. And because of the increasing cases of COVID, our schooling system was temporarily transitioned to a virtual platform. This transfer was not ideal or helpful, to some students, and it significantly impacted the teachers and the parents of those students. So after some of the restrictions were lifted, our schooling system, it switched its teaching methods. So students, they came in on alternate days, which caused the teaching hours to be dramatically hit. So Project Discovery, we saw this issue, and we have a lot of teachers in this organization, so they deal with it head on. So we tried to come up with a solution. We had discussions, we sat and we had a lot of deliberations about how we can solve this issue from losing all of those hours. And the solution that we came up with was Bolt. So Terry talked about this earlier. Bolt is basically just a program which we have used to strengthen the internet connection around the learning institutions to help the teachers be able to connect to students virtually with no streaming issues or any virtual issues while teaching children who are present in the classroom. So let's get okay, so the projects for this, we started actually testing and running studies in April 2021. And we actually secured some funding from an organization called Legacy Foundation. And that fueled the rest of the testing and studies which were needed to develop this concept from being a concept to actually performing and being functional. So after this collaboration, there was a showcase basically which was done at the Ellerslie Secondary School. This was conducted on the 18th of May in 2021. And after the ceremony or showcase was finished, we received an approval from the Springer Memorial Secondary School, granting us permission to facilitate our program in their school as well. So also in April, we had another unexpected event. We experienced some volcanic ash from our neighboring island, St. Vincent. They had a volcanic eruption, and that led to toxic ash being plunged in the air. So with this ash, they just basically came together and we tried to help each other out, basically. And Project Discovery, we lent our hand to St. Leonard's Boys School. So we did a cleanup there to get rid of all of the ash. The goal was to eliminate as much of it as possible, so that it would be safe for the children to return to school, especially with there being COVID. We don't want any elements which would affect the children and their health. So we went into the schools, we did a couple classrooms, and then we adjusted the furniture to make sure that it met with the protocols that COVID-19 had. So throughout all of these events, we got a more realistic view of the families and students who really didn't have any resources, to combat the challenges that COVID brought. And this made us focus our attention on those children who on a normal basis don't even have these resources, especially for school. So Project Discovery came together, all of our members came together, and in September 2020, we came up with the concept that we wanted to create a care package initiative. So we developed this idea, and we recently received some funding from an organization to purchase stationery and supplies for students to kick off this initiative and this program. So currently where we are, so along with that, along with the realization that people, especially students, really don't have much resources, the government was also, the Ministry of Education is also very aware of this, and they distributed some electronic devices for students so that they would be able to work alongside with the teachers to get through their schoolwork, which is needed. But we realize that there are some families that don't even have internet, or they don't even have electricity. Some families, they don't even have electricity and water. So Project Discovery, again, we came together and we couldn't help all of the families that we wanted to because of the limited resources, but we still tried. So the families that we could assist and we can offer our help to, we reached out to them. And for one in particular, we donated some equipment which they needed to facilitate their business from home, because finding a job in that environment was very, very difficult. So we donated some equipment so that they could facilitate their own business. And in another household, one or a couple households, we installed, we temporarily installed, let me make sure I get the name correctly, a temporary electrical supply. So that is what is used when houses or infrastructures are being constructed, but they aren't wired for electricity as yet. So workers, they would use this supply to power tools, get the necessary electricity that they need to finish the infrastructure so that it can be wired. So we installed that into a couple of homes so that students and families would have access to the electricity and internet that they need. So Project Discovery was also invited a couple years ago, and continuously we have been invited by a Mr. Johnson of the St. Stephen's Cubhat to St. Stephen's Primary School to work with the Cub Scouts to help them gain some badges to ultimately claim the highest award, which would be the Mahogany Award. So interactive presentations were discussed by our vice president, our founder, and our members on sustainable energy and water conservation on August 21st, 2020. So currently we are working on further collaborations. We're trying to get into other neighboring Cub Scouts so we can assist them as well. And with St. Stephen's Cubhat, we're trying to facilitate a mentorship program for the Scouts moving forward. But more details on this will be addressed later in the annual business meeting. So due to the protocols of COVID-19, we had to reframe our social activities as a group. So, but despite this, we still managed to venture further into the hiking scene because it was allowed, and once precautionary measures were taken, it was safe to do so. So we organized our own hike at the ending of last year in November 2020, and that hike was organized by our secretary, Precious Holligan. And earlier this year, a couple months ago this year, we formed a relationship with a committee by the name of Extreme Hikers Barbados. This again would be discussed later in the presentation. So moving forward, I would like there to be more community service activities. I would like us to get involved in renovating community parks, especially those with young students, with young children in the community. So playing is a very important thing for children, especially in their developmental age. And it develops the emotional, social, and creative thinking skills which are needed in adulthood. And since technology has been intertwined in our society, it has become more difficult to get children off of video games and television and actually out and playing with others. And the pandemic does not help. But I do believe that if we at least encourage, if we have something that is there that children want to go out and play, that would re-engage them again. But for this activity, we would need resources. We would need some finances to purchase equipment, such as benches or materials. We would need volunteers as well. So my next thing that I would like to see, there is an organization by the name of Precious Touch Foundation. And this organization grants wishes to children between the age of 2 to 16 years old who have been diagnosed with life-threatening medical conditions. And I believe we can offer our assistance to help this organization reach their goals, making wishes come true for children. There are a couple ways that I can see us helping this organization, and one of those ways will be collaborating with the same hiking group, which I mentioned earlier, Extreme Hikers Barbados, to organize a fundraising hike or fundraising hikes to donate to Precious Touch Foundation. And the reason that we would collaborate with Extreme Hikers Barbados is because they have a relationship with Precious Touch Foundation. We found out about this organization through them. And we would like to collaborate with each other to see things get better. And that is one of the ways that we would like to facilitate that. I would also like if us as Project Discovery, we get more involved in environmental cleanups around the island. So we were really, really close to accomplishing this. We were scheduled to have a cleanup with another organization called Future Center Trust. But unfortunately, due to the increasing cases of COVID-19, it had to be postponed to early next year. So we're looking forward to that. But I still think I would still like us to be able to get into the cleanup aspects. Cleaning up aspects of the environmental cleanup aspects. So lastly, on the community service, I would like us to get more, I would like us to expand our care package initiative to several secondary schools, or maybe all, or maybe we can go into all secondary and primary schools. But to achieve this, we would also need finances to purchase supplies for students or the actual materials which the students would need. This increase in community activity would help us increase our community service hours and give back hours for the UWA, the University of West Indies Give Back Program. So a little about this program. So in 2018, the Barbados government reintroduced the payment of tuition fees for Barbadian students. But in return, it was mandated that all Barbadian students would give back in some form of volunteer hours at various approved participating entities across the island. And we are one of those entities. So members should be able to gain hours, community service hours, but I don't just want them to be able to gain this externally. I want there to be a system where they can gain hours internally as well. So one of the strategies that I'm proposing for this that will be developed is forming subcommittees. So these subcommittees would range from the financial committee, which would stem to the fundraising committee, communications committee, research and documentation, and event planning committee. So I hope to achieve other things from implementing these strategies, these committees. For instance, getting members to participate more, establishing a more reliable system. So each committee will have their own mission and will work in harmony to make sure that all of their goals are executed. So just to elaborate on the committees a bit. So for the financial committee, there should be financial awareness for all. There should be the fundraising ideas and executing these events. For the communications committee, there should be more of, For the communications committee, there should be more of a social media presence. But despite this, I just want to pause a minute and say, since we as the executive have been elected, our presence on social media has tremendously increased. And I just want to extend a thank you to our communications officers to getting us to where we are right now. Okay, so the Communications Committee would also be responsible for managing communications internally and externally. Our Research and Documentation Committee would work side by side with the Communications Committee, providing some interviews, videos, images, articles, or any documentation from events that we partake in. So for the Event Planning Committee, there should be more organized events for social and community purposes. So these committees would be the backbone to our success, and these committees would also be a source for another goal I would like us to achieve. That is giving members more exposure and experience by putting them directly in leadership positions. That's what we're here for. We're here to take students out of where they are used to in the school system and put them in positions that they have to make choices, that they have to be willing, that they have to be active. So there are some people who don't have the answer to every question, some people who don't have the experience to every situation, but we want that members are at least willing to try. So to alter our current membership, we will be establishing a membership evaluation. And I won't discuss this evaluation much more into detail because that will be discussed later by one of our communications officers. Next, I just want to say that with the establishing the membership evaluation, we want our members to be able to share their thoughts and ideas. For instance, there's one member in particular, Mikhail Yearwood. He has some ideas and some projects and programs which he would like to execute, and we're here to help him with that. So one of the ideas that he's pitched to us is in regards to our seminars. We do seminars. It is one of our programs, and the seminar in particular that he would like to see implemented is basically life skills seminars, teaching students who are about to leave university, how to get a job, how to work on CVs and stuff along that line. He would also like if there could be a developing platform which would promote the youth of Barbados and the region in a positive light, because there are a lot of easily accessible negative examples of youth, and we don't really want that. We want that we can showcase the positive side of the youth, and that is one of his ideas that he would want to see accomplished. So this platform would be used also to help these people gain the recognition and exposure that they would need or that otherwise would be missed or overshadowed by the negative. So Project Discovery will be facilitating more social activities for its members. Because of COVID, which has led us to a lot of restrictions of most of our activities, we were not able to work on these issues. So we did manage to become active again, and that was through hiking, which I had mentioned earlier. So continuing along the line of our social events, we were in the work of executing a movie night for our members, which had to be canceled due to the increasing number of COVID-19 cases of COVID-19. The movie night was supposed to be held about 2 weeks ago, but unfortunately, we didn't want to take any risk. So even though at that time it wasn't mandated that you couldn't have a certain number of people, we just went ahead and say we will hold off on it until we think it is safe for all of our members. So I'm hoping that all of these goals that we would like to achieve, it can be further tackled by our event planning committee. But before I close, I just want to express that these aren't only thoughts, ideas, and visions, but all of these have strategies. All of these have ways that we can work around them to accomplish these goals that we need to obtain. But we can't, us as the executive and us as the directors, we can't do these alone. We can't bring these concepts to reality alone. We need everybody and anybody. We need people who are willing. We need people who want to be a part, who desire to be a part. So before I leave, I just want to leave a little reminder. Please remember that unity is strength. Thank you. I would just like to pass over to our chairperson, Adriana Gooding.
Thank you very much, Nadia. Next, we have Gregdon Griffith, who would speak a little bit about CARIFED.
Thank you very much, Madam Chairperson. I'd first like to thank all the specially invited guests, members of the Board of Directors, member of the Executive Committee, and members of Project Discovery across the region. Thank you for coming. When I was asked to speak about CARIFED, I felt a very warm, a nice warmth in my heart, because CARIFED has been one of the main contributors to my social development and educational development over the last couple of years. Since I joined Project Discovery in 2015, I've been to 5 CARIFEDs, 4 as a participant, 1 as a chaperone. And there are not enough words that I can express about the benefits of the program. To give just a general intro and summary about what CARIFED is. The Caribbean Youth Forum on Environment and Development is what I like to call an intersectional and holistic learning experience. Now, to break that down, it focuses on civic awareness, regionalism, and it will all center around a main theme for the year. Traditionally, the theme would have been STEM related, as was the case in Jamaica. When we went to Jamaica, the project was about renewable energies and sustainable energy and alternative energies. Then we had other programs, for example, in Trinidad, when we paid visits to industrial manufacturing plants, paid visits to the oil and gas sector to just see what engineering and industry looked like for a large scale, on a large scale. And as we've seen the CARIFED initiative develop, it's moved a little bit away from your STEM curriculum, all the way to something a little bit more sociocultural. And I think the steps were made to make that transition when we went to Trinidad and Tobago last. And then when we did the CARIFED that was in Barbados, which would have been 2019, where we were looking at something that still had a little bit of science in it, but we're talking about blue economy and tourism, where you see how the blue economy and the STEM related information can be integrated into your tourism sphere, and how we as a Caribbean people earn, live, and thrive. That was a very fruitful discussion. We had members from the Barbados Tourism Marketing Inc. come in and discuss, and other specialists. We went into some of the history behind tourism in Barbados and the broader Caribbean. And that's just a nice broad and general recap on what the theme was. Now, as I said in the beginning, there is significant intersectionality. So we've dealt with the academic side of it in part. I'm saving the best for last, the CARIFED challenge. What we really learn as students when we go to CARIFED is a lot of self-discovery. As would have been mentioned by Mr. Bend, it is a residential forum. So learning life lessons like what living with each other for 14 days is like, living with strangers for 14 days, different cultures, different forms of expression, different habits. You know, it really does give you at a micro scale a good example of what almost a university dorm-like experience is. And it really forces you to step into your own fold and introduce you, the unique person that you are, and just have an appreciation for the difference that you'll be surrounded by. I cannot mention CAIFED without talking about the Casanova effect it has. This is a big joke that we have when we go to CAIFEDs, the 2-week love affairs. But I mean, it's all fun aside, it's just nice to see people step out of their shell and blossom. And in a lot of ways, through standardized education, we're taught that you must learn about life in boxes. And CAIFED is anything other than that. And it forces you to just take stock of where you are, take advantage of the programs and see what the future might hold. And I think that's one of the biggest positives of your CAIFED experience. CAIFED, the part I'm missing, the year that I was a chaperone. As I said before, there are different learning experiences you can glean from it. From the chaperone introduction perspective, you then have to enter into leadership capacity that you would not necessarily would have been introduced to before. I remember Mr. King one of the years giving a good example of what that experience is like, and having gone through it myself, it makes sense. It's like watching geese or swans on a lake. Everything above the water is beautiful and seamless. But then the bottom, we have a roaring, kicking of legs, scrambling like a fight. But that is not to say that the program is executed poorly. I think the message behind it is, as much as you would have plans for the activities during the day, life happens, Murphy's Law. And it's how you see the role of the chaperone to make sure that the experience of the students at the forum is as best as it possibly can be. And you have to be so many things to these students when you're a chaperone. Because for a lot of them, it is their first time out of their home country. It's their first time alone. And getting along with people is not always the easiest. So having an open mind, open heart, and a good work ethic and good people skills, that is exactly what you're going to need as a chaperone. And in a lot of ways, I've taken the skills I've learned as a chaperone into my university experience and now into my further career development post the degree. On to the best part, the CAIFED challenge. Now, as I would have said before, the CAIFED challenge, well, CAIFED on a whole is based on a theme. And with the CAIFED challenge, you have the students put together a business pitch. So think of it similar to Shark Tank. It's a business pitch where you need to do market projections, and you have to take all the skills that you have in your group, because not everyone in the group is going to be business savvy. Not everyone in the group is going to have great research or presentations. You have to meet people where they're at and come together with a product that you can present at the end of the CAIFED challenge. Now, this has been a very interesting experience over the years. We've had almost fights break out. We've had serious altercations between the students, but at the end of the day, you can be very proud in the product that the students put forward. The essence of the project is to make sure that from the seminar sessions that take place within the forum, students are allowed to pull as much information from the sessions as possible to put together this project. And from the administrative side, in terms of scheduling these sessions and seminars, we try to make sure that all of the presenters are not only knowledgeable, but willing to answer the questions of the students, and that all the presentations are within the general lens of what the theme is for the forum. And you would be surprised at how polished and how beautiful some of these presentations are, and just the ideas that people come up with that are truly ingenious. In a lot of ways, people hear about the challenge and question their own capabilities, but you find a lot of strength in yourself when you're put to a challenge and you succeed. And it is that inner self-worth and self-confidence that we try to foster in our students every time they go on campus and every time they attend CARIFED. In closing, because I don't want to make this presentation too long, I will always advocate for CARIFED. It has been a major part of my life. I am as devastated as much as my members of the board when we weren't able to roll out the CARIFED 2020. I promise you the plans that they had in place were amazing for the Trinidad trip. But I look forward to the point in time where we're all able to meet together, have that fellowship, and really try to help mold the lives of the students that we get in our care. It's wonderful, a statement that we use sometimes in our introductory interviews for members, new members. I think it's very appropriate for CARIFED. We want our members to have an appreciation for the fact that they're nationals of their country, but we're also citizens of the Caribbean. And understanding the importance of regionalism is more important now than it ever has been, and it will always be the way forward. That being said, I will, if permitted, leave the floor open for a couple of questions, and then I will yield back to the chair. Thank you everyone for your patience, and thank you for coming.
If you have any questions regarding CARIFED, you can just raise your hand in the chat or type the question in the chat as well.
Before I close out, I realized I forgot one major component. A lot of students, when they hear CARIFED and they hear they're going to be able to go on a trip, think it is a vacation program. It is anything but a vacation program. And the first 2 to 4 days of the program is a community service centered initiative. We've been to nursing homes to administer care. We have helped build fences for other non-govs, among other painting and construction-oriented projects that we've done in the first couple of days of CARIFED. So the community and give back mandates are always going to be present in any project discovery project. So it's just one of the wonders of CARIFED. Well, to answer the question of Ms. Hardin, students are selected for participation when there's an open call that's given to the schools. So we reach out to these schools across the region, and then the schools will give a list of potential members from their students to join the program. Sometimes we have students that come on sponsorship, and that is how the selection process is done in the main part. Also, students can come individually and register through their country chapter. That is how the selection process is. And we have to put caps on the amount of space that's allotted to each country, just to make sure that the diversity within the project is fair and the numbers are, as much as is possible, evenly distributed. The cost of the program is $700 US. This does not include But going back to my point on the CariFed project, the prize for winning the CariFed challenge is your forum fee at $700 that's redeemable at at the next CariFed. So that is the incentive, and people really do look forward to it, and we get good participation. I hope that answers your question, Ms. Harmon. Oh yes, the $700 is all inclusive in terms of providing meals and housing, and for the seminars. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Gregden. Next, we will have Lineker speak a little about the hikes that we had during the year.
Hi, good evening to our board of directors, our specially invited guests and members of Project Discovery. With our hiking, our main goal was to increase the socialization as well as the fitness of our members. So far, because of the COVID restrictions, we've only had 2 hikes to date, or 3. Our initial goal was to have 2 per month, which would be 1 on Sundays to facilitate those who may not be able to attend on Saturdays because of work. We also have 7 days Adventists. We wanted to have 1 on Saturdays as well. This would be to, give everybody a chance to go, whether they have prior commitments on either day. The planning of our hikes consists of doing a quick assessment of our members as related to the proposed trail, because we don't want that our members would have gone and then end up being too tired to actually socialize or enjoy. The first one we would have chosen would have been Bath to Bathsheba, and this was so we would give the members a chance to see what's left of the railroad. So we would have had a bit of history in there, and it was very good. But then we were given the opportunity to collaborate with extreme hikers this year, and that provided the opportunity for our social hike to double as a networking opportunity, because we would have been able to talk to the other attendees of the hike about Project Discovery and what we do and what our goals are. Then doing that, we actually met with someone who is also working with youth, and he was very interested in what we are doing here at Project Discovery. So going forward, hopefully with restrictions being lifted in the future, we'll be able to continue networking at the hikes and also doing hikes on our own. As Nadia would have said in her address, we are hoping to be able to work with the Precious Touch Foundation and their Make-A-Wish program for terminally ill children. Hopefully we'll be able to have more than 1 fundraising hike or event for that, because we're hoping to really get involved, because I think anyone would agree that is a really good cause to be a part of. So we're really trying to get funds geared towards that, as well as all our other programs we have going, because we really do have a lot planned to do, and of course we're going to need those funds. We had another hike plan, but of course we can't do that right now. So as restrictions are lifted, we will go back to hiking. We hope to collab with other people in the future, but we also do plan our own hike, and hopefully we do secure the funding for whatever program we may have coming up. So I will turn you back over to our chairperson. Any questions can be placed in the chat, or just raise your hand and ask those questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Lineker. Next is the Cub Scouts.
Okay, good evening, everybody. I'm going to deputize for our Vice President Kalia, who had to step out to do something. The Cub Scout project started as a one-time situation where we went in to do a badge at the St. Stephen's School with Mr. Everett Johnson. He was very impressed with the performance and the delivery of the members of Project Discovery, the young persons. What we did on that occasion was we were very concerned that a lot of the stuff on the internet was done up for people who did not look or sound like us. So what we did was we got together and did a whole set of videos and different teaching tools that we would use to deliver the information that we wanted to deliver. So people did their own videos on water conservation in their own houses, turning on the tap while you're keeping the tap running when you're brushing your teeth, speaking to other people about doing things like that. And amidst all of that, we found that the response of the students, the Cubs, was amazing. So then what we would do every year is we would make our own material to deliver to them. And it has worked well. We've had an opportunity to do the badge for several other cup packs as well that would have been invited by Mr. Johnson. Sorry about that, but that would have been invited by Mr. Johnson. And that's where we are right now with them. What has happened as a result of our interaction over the last 4 years is that Mr. Johnson has made us very aware of the lack of male leadership in the Cub Scout movement in Barbados in particular. So what we're looking at doing is putting together a mentorship program in which we will get young men from Project Discovery, ages 16 and up, to be trained as persons who will assist different Cub packs. So they wouldn't be like necessarily one Cub pack, or they wouldn't be the official leader of the Cub pack, but they will function more like a para leader. So you may actually be assigned to several Cub packs, and you may go in once a month or once every 2 months and just help assist with some stuff. That's one aspect of it. And the other aspect of it is actually looking at setting up mentorship programs between individual Cubs and or groups of Cubs and leaders, young men from Project Discovery, so that the male leadership aspect will be developed among the young people in Project Discovery, and it will also expose young boys to more male leaders. So that's basically where the Cub Scout program is headed. I know that Mr. Johnson is on the call. I don't know if there's anything else that he would like to add to that, if the host, Madam Chair, if you would permit that.
Yes, he can.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair. Just let me say on the behalf of the Group Council and leaders at St. Stephen's, I'm grateful for Project Discovery for coming in and assisting the boys on a yearly basis. Y'all can hear me, right?
Yeah, we can hear you, but it would be good if you could see you too.
Oh. Can you see me? Hello?
Yeah, we can start to see you. Yeah, okay.
Yeah. As he said, we are very grateful at St. Stephen's. When y'all come in and help the Cub Scouts towards gaining the Mahogany Award badge. Now, the badge that this Project Discovery usually do with the boys on a yearly basis is one of the key badges that they must have to qualify for the Mahogany Award. Well, I would just let me announce that we have 8 boys who can actually receive the Mahogany Award this year. And the part of the components of the Mahogany Award is that the boys must have more than 25 proficiency badges. And they have to write a basic history on Barbados. The national heroes, they have to mention the 10 national heroes, and they have to pick out their favorite national hero and write a full bio on that national hero. They have to write an essay on the mahogany tree, and then the history on scouting in Barbados. Now, after all that is finished, the boys have to come up with between 10 to 12 questions. They will have to interview either the chief commissioner, the district commissioner, or their nominee. That will be part of the whole setup for the Mahogany Award. And then before they actually get the Mahogany Award, then they would be interviewed and ask questions on their booklet. It is a lot of work, but I really appreciate the help that Project Discovery Barbados is giving us. And I am looking forward to the mentorship program because we are really lacking the male leaders in this association. And we will all know that things that boys can learn from men, they can't learn from women. So I'm looking forward to deepening our friendship with Project Discovery. And I really appreciate the help that y'all give. And Mr. King, hats off to you. And thanks for inviting me to your meeting.
Thank you. Mr. King, would you be able to answer the question in the chat on whether we would be looking at making CariFed a virtual conference considering COVID-19?
Greg, would you like to take that, or do you want me to answer it? Because I would rather not talk as much as I normally do.
Not a problem. We were in discussions, the directors and all the other stakeholders from the Project Discovery chapters, to see the feasibility of having an online conference. In a lot of ways, we were going to have a centralized forum, and then from there branch into country-specific forums. So the residential aspect could still happen, but without as many people there. So there'd be almost mini CariFeds within the different jurisdictions. However, plans are still and discussions are still being had in terms of how exactly we will roll it out. But I am hopeful that by the end of this year, we will have something concrete to put forward to the membership, at least in terms of a concrete idea. But yes, we are considering going virtual.
Thank you for your response. Okay, next, we will just have some information on Bolt.
Okay, I'm going to ask the two members of two of the 4 most active members in the Bolt project if you could make yourselves available. These two persons who are here with us on the call right now are Florian Farrell and Jalissa Bannister. And we also had, I don't see him here anymore. We also had Mr. Adam Clark, who was the Mr. Adam Clark was the technical advisor to the program. So I'm going to start with Jalissa. If I can just find her name here so we can spotlight her so that you can see her gorgeous face. Jalissa, you want to turn on your camera, please? Or while we wait for Jalissa to Florian, are you available? Are you here?
Yes, sir, I'm here. But
okay,
sir,
good. Yeah, Florian is not able to turn on his camera. He is in a situation. So you can just talk to us, Florian. I'll start by asking you why do you think that Bolt is something that you would want to dedicate so much? First of all, how much of your time over the last 6 to 8 months have you dedicated to this project, and why did you think it was so important for you to dedicate so much time to it?
Well, sir, like you said, I dedicated well over, well, almost coming on to a year now of work to the project. While we even spent like weekends where we had to go and bank holidays where we had to go and work on the project. And we did that because it was one of the, if not the only solution to stop instructional time from being lost. So that is one of the main reasons why I and the rest of the team dedicated so much time and effort. Even though it was tedious and extremely tiring, it was worth it. And that's one of the main reasons why we dedicated so much time and effort in this project, because it's one of the solutions, if not the only viable solution to the online problem, or the online issues that we have right now in terms of school and education and students and teachers. So I guess that's one of the main reasons. And it also taught us some skills via team working skills, technical skills, and even taught us some software editing skills. And it wasn't just the males doing the hard lifting. So it was gender neutral. So even the girls did the heavy lifting and the hard labor. So nobody didn't exactly get away from it. So, but it was worth it in the end.
Okay, we heard the Minister of Education in Barbados talk about the loss of instructional time. We hear the Chief Education Officer speak about the loss of instructional time. Barbados has 21 secondary schools, only 21. And I know that there are people in Project Discovery, some of whom are actually on this call right now, who have done some calculations. They have actually crunched all the numbers to come up with some values. When we talk about loss of instructional time, approximately, I think we only did the calculations for the secondary school, correct? The secondary school system.
I think so, sir. I don't remember. I just remember
Okay.
we did. Well, I didn't personally crunch the numbers, but the other people did, but I think it's for secondary schools.
Okay, so for 21 secondary schools, either Jalissa or
Hi, sir. Sorry about that.
it's okay. How many student hours are we talking about? How much time is lost really?
Well, as not Mr. Clark, as Adam would say, well, almost 11 million man hours, and that is can't get that back.
500,000 was lost compared to the amount we had in hours. So we had almost like an entire million and we lost half of that amount within that short time span.
Okay, so we're talking about millions of student hours of school, which cannot be recovered because it's just lost. So the boat project was designed to not to recapture it because it can't be recaptured, but to stop that number from being so high. So what did you find as the most interesting thing that you learned about yourself while you were involved in this project? Let's hear from Jalissa first, and then Florian.
Well, that's for me, that's a bit difficult to answer because it's not much that I have learned different to what. There's not much that has changed differently about myself. What I learned though is that some students who might have not been as suffering, that might have been suffering more than some of the rest during this time, had more difficulties and had more mental strain upon themselves than others. I've experienced some of that, but not to the same extent as some students, since for them it would have been more difficult due to the fact that they have no access to what we would have been, some of us would have been able to have. Like they might have been distributed a device or have a device, but they might not have the connectivity within their homes to be able to be online and operate it so that they can participate in classes. And the one thing I can say that was most interesting to me that I found out is that compared to what I would have probably thought about how it was before, it seemed a bit more it seemed like it had to be more tenacious for the students for during this time, and that for me it was more tedious in order to get the work that needed to be done so that I could move on within that amount of time.
Okay. Florian, what was the most difficult thing for you in the process?
Pardon me, sir?
What was the most difficult part of being involved in the boat project for you?
Honestly, sir, the most difficult part was probably the speaking publicly, or like have to speak about the like if somebody asks about the project and I explain it. To me that's probably one of the most difficult areas, and also the fine tuning the signal maps and fine tuning find out the different specific areas that wasn't receiving the good connection that we wanted. So
give us
Pardon?
The last question I'm going to ask is this: give us an idea about what exactly you did. So a school calls you in, or a school invites you in to look at their situation. Tell us what project Discovery does when they go into that situation.
Well, firstly, sir, we would use satellite imaging to map out the area that we are supposed to cover. Then we will design a signal map and receive the different, and then color code it to see and compare it to the range of the materials that we're using to see which areas would essentially have a strong connection or signal. And after we create and design that signal map, we would then go in and map out, take readings and recordings of each and every room multiple times to get like an average, to see if those were the desired recordings that we wanted. And if they weren't the desired recordings, we would go back and fine tune, as I said before, and make sure that they're good, not just like there and you can connect, but it's not good enough, but make sure that the connection is strong and you can teach or learn or whatever on it. And after we take readings, we also make sure there's evidence of us taking the readings and making sure that we have documented evidence showing that we actually went in and did the work and made sure that everything works well around the area that was supposed to have the said Wi-Fi. So, and then certain teams would have different roles, whether one person would take readings and the other person have designated evidence, documentation, etc. But yeah.
So do we have, Jalissa, do we have any of this that actually works, or do we have any evidence that we can show or lead people to demonstrate to them that this project that we talk so much about actually does work? Do we have documented evidence we can share with the public?
Yes, we do, but I don't think I have the access to it. I have to check.
Okay. I'm going to stop there. I don't know if anybody has any short questions that they would like to ask. They can put them in the chat and maybe we can get back to them. Or otherwise, I would just hand back over to Adriana.
Okay, well, while we await any questions, next we will be looking at the evaluations that Nadia had mentioned earlier.
Hi, good evening, everyone. Can everyone hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, so I hope all is well. Before I begin, I just wanted to give a small introduction about myself. My name is Jana Scott. I am 18 years old, and I am one of 3 communication officers of Project Discovery Barbados. Now, we all had our various reasons for joining Project Discovery. To list a few, some of us wanted to volunteer more, to be a part of something bigger than ourselves, while some of us wanted to have a voice and our ideas heard, or to take part in CARIFET. No matter the reason, we all joined. Whilst the majority of our projects were face-to-face, just like this meeting was intended to be, we all had to learn how to readjust and adapt to this new normal. However, even in this online mode, there's still something for everyone. Seminars for every interest. If you don't see something that piques yours, let us know. We want our members to be active, ensuring that they get the most out of their times in this organization. And we're always looking for innovative ways to improve what exactly it means to be a member of Project Discovery. That being said, it has been realized that whilst the group participants list is long, those who participate is the opposite. As a result, we'll be implementing an evaluation system in hopes of not only encouraging more activity and learning person's interest so that we can help you, but to hear your voices and implement the changes that you want to see within this organization. Now, when will these forms be circulated? The evaluation forms will be circulated from Saturday, the 2nd of October, and we strongly encourage all members to fill them out, as we would appreciate your response. Who is evaluated? All members, from the executive body to general members, will be evaluated on their activity in the past 3 years. Thank you for listening. I will now open the floor to any questions. When asking, can you kindly state your name and your respective country?
I don't see any questions as yet. So in the meantime, we can move on to the financial section.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening, everyone. I hope everyone is doing well and staying safe. So today we'll be looking at the financial report, and we will start with the statement of financial activities for the year ended the 31st of August 2021. Here you can see that we received $875 under donations and subscriptions, but this money was solely collected from donations due to the fact that subscriptions were not collected because of the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic. Amidst our efforts to create a plan for the collection of subs, this plan did not materialize. Our expenses, if you look further down in the statement, our expenses range from bank charges to depreciation, and we can see that the bank charges decreased by $9.50 in 2021. Whilst we incurred marketing and advertising expenses due to the hosting of our first ever logo competition, and we purchased prizes such as earbuds and a smartwatch. Our freezer, which is directly under depreciation, our freezer depreciation increased as the rate of depreciation increased as well. Overall, leaving us with a surplus of $200.58 compared to deficits in 2020 and 2019. Moving on to our statement of financial position. Right. Our cash and cash equivalents, this was supposed to be a different slide, however. Our cash and cash equivalents amounted to $741. This should have been an increase of $600 here. Overall, amounting an increase of $435 from 2020. Our equipment, our non-current assets, the deep freezer, was less this year, again, due to the rate of depreciation increasing. At the end of our financial year, our total net assets would have amounted to $1,678.69. Again, this is the wrong slide, so it would be a $600 difference. Moving on to our projected statement of financial activities. As it relates to our projected statement of financial activities for the year ended 31st of August 2022, we intend to collect donations or increase our donations and subscriptions amount to roughly $5,000 for the upcoming financial year due to the anticipated relaxation of the COVID-19 protocols, which may allow us to host any events that we have planned for the year, for next year. In addition, we anticipate the receipt of corporate sponsorship. This is possible as is stated under section 4.1D of the bylaws, and I quote, being any body of persons, whether corporate or unincorporated, whose work tends to promote all or any of the objects of the company and subscribe not less than $1,200 annually to said funds, end quote. And this total stems from, the rest of the total stems from a calculation of estimated collection of subs from the members and 2 corporate members having made their donations for the year. Moving on to our expenses. Our expenses connected to bank charges are expected to remain the same. Marketing and advertising costs will increase due to the anticipated events as I previously mentioned. We're also planning to produce merchandise, t-shirts and polo shirts. So the production costs of those t-shirts were included in that figure. Depreciation is also scheduled to remain the same, and other expenses incurred $200. An increase of $1,490 in total expenses from the year 2021 to 2022, and we anticipate a surplus of $2,635 compared to this year. And then we will finally have a look at the projected statement of financial position. So we just see we anticipate an overall $770 increase in our cash and cash equivalents, leaving us with a $2,835.58 increase overall of our net assets. Thank you, and you may ask any questions that you may have. Just a quick
Patrice or Adriana, there's a question in the chat.
Sorry, is this the question relating to the areas that PD required donation to?
Yes.
Okay, so donations can overall be made to host any seminars that we may have, but right now we will only be hosting online seminars, and for these online seminars, we do not charge them because we do not charge for these seminars because they're overall to help the persons attending, and the only expenses you may have or incur will be those for any spaces that we have to rent. But any donations received will go towards any projects we have, the boat project, our care package project, any projects like those.
Okay, thank you very much. Are there any other questions? Okay. Then the next section would be acknowledgement of achievements of our members, both locally and regionally.
Before you do that, Adriana, there's a very interesting question.
Oh, the question about how can persons, okay, so we have a bank account right now. So persons trying to donate from the US can make a bank transfer to our bank account. So the information, you can direct message any one of the directors or me and get my information to make that donation.
Can you please let them know what the Project Discovery Barbados email is? For finance.
Okay, the email, I will put it in the chat, but it's projectdiscoverybb.finance@gmail.com, but I'll type it in the chat also.
I would just like to respond, if I may, to the other comment about volunteer hours. In-kind contributions are invaluable. We can actually put a cost to them very easily. And most of what is done in Project Discovery is done by volunteer contributions. But the nature of some of the projects that we do require us to have either materials donated or money donated to purchase materials. The way that the finance system is set up in Project Discovery, it has evolved over the years, but the way that is currently set up, the way it's been set up for like the last 5 years is because we are a registered non-profit entity, you will notice on the financial statements that there was no heading for profit. There's only surplus. And what happens is anytime that there's a surplus, the surplus is put into other projects. So the boat project is functioning right now in 3 schools, but there are over 100 schools in Barbados that can use that project. So if there's a surplus, some of that money can go towards the boat project. Some of that money can go towards the care package project. Some of that money can go towards putting up additional temporary electrical supplies or helping persons, matching persons' ability to pay for wiring and other stuff that they would need to get their house wired or to get water installed, because this is predominantly an organization of young people, most of whom are not working. And so is accessing financial assistance from other sources is critical. We have brilliant ideas, we have the energy, we have the manpower, and we have persons who come in and deliver to us the training that is necessary for us to have the skill set. But then we still need to get the materials in order to get the job done a lot of the time. So that would be my response to that question. We would never refuse in-kind contributions, but we still need cash. And we are audited, let's not forget that. Because we are a registered nonprofit company, we are liable to audits, random audits. So our numbers gotta be right.
Okay, I could also add to that by saying if you want to donate to a specific project, you can just let us know when you make the donation, and it would only be used for that purpose. Also, as it relates to in-kind contributions or such, for example, for our logo competition, a director had donated the prizes. So if you or anyone else would also like to contribute to any type of prize for any events or competitions that we may have, that can be done as well. The next section is on the acknowledgement of achievements. And this will be presented by Geyser Mears.
Hi, good night, everyone. Well, good evening. I'll just wait for the slides to come up. Right. So hi, everyone, once again. My name is Geyser Mears. I am one of the communication officers. And this evening, I'm just taking you through some of our exceptional members that have made great achievements in their academic or professional careers. So first off, we have Aaliyah Sampson. She's a member of Project Discovery Barbados, and she scored a 3.483 GPA at the Barbados Community College, majoring in biology, chemistry, and physics. We then have Jamari Gaskin. He's the chairperson of the Board of Directors of Project Discovery Barbados. He recently received a promotion at Parkinson Memorial Secondary School as the new Information Technology Coordinator, or ITC. Alyssa Lord, she is a member of Project Discovery Barbados. She receives a bachelor's in she's about to receive a bachelor's in microbiology and ecology with honors from the University of the West Indies. On the next slide, we start off with Kimberly Dukhan. I'm hoping I'm pronouncing this name correctly. She's a member of Project Discovery St. Kitts and Nevis, and she received this associate degree from Clarence Fitzroy Bryant Community College, majoring in hospitality studies. Next, we have Adele Archibald. He's the president of Project Discovery St. Kitts and Nevis, and he scored a 3.0 GPA at Clarence Fitzroy Bryant Community College, majoring in history, sociology, and law. Next person we have is Kervon Richards. He is the vice president of Project Discovery St. Kitts and Nevis, and he received his associate degree also from the Clarence Fitzroy Bryant Community College, majoring in culinary arts. He was also an emerging leader in the he was a part of the Emerging Leaders in the Americas program, scholarship to Canada, to further his studies in culinary arts. The next slide. Next slide, we start with Andre Haynes. He's a member of Project Discovery Jamaica, and he has a bachelor's degree in psychology with upper second class honors from the University of the West Indies. Next, we have Sean Michael Quickshank. I hope I'm pronouncing that name correctly. He's the president of Project Discovery Jamaica, and he received an associate degree in logistics and supply chain management from the University of the Commonwealth Caribbean. Next, we have Kira Archier Mills. She's a member of Project Discovery Jamaica, and she's receiving her associate degree in logistics and supply chain management from Caribbean Maritime University. And she owns and operates Light Rad Designs, which makes and sells crochet clothing and resort wear for the past 6 years. So she's been in the game a while. I believe, okay, you have the next slide. So then we have Kieran Weeks. He's the executive director of Project Discovery Trinidad and Tobago. And he's a founder and director of Quintessential Language Learning, which teaches foreign languages online to Caribbean students. His business has been in operation for the past 4 years. I believe that is it, if I'm correct. So now if it's just be possible for everybody to just go in the chat and say congratulations. Okay, we aren't done. But so if everybody can go in the chat and say congratulations to these, amazing persons for doing what they're doing, it would really be well. Also, let me add on to Kieran. He has received his postgraduate diploma in education from UE. So congrats. And then we have Felicia John. She's the chairperson of the Board of Directors of Project Discovery Trinidad and Tobago. and she's received or receiving her certificate in financial management with a distinction from London International College. And she's received a promotion from member service representative to credit officer at the UE Credit Union. So we have some professional promotions going on. So if we can just have everybody in the chat saying congratulations to our members and some reactions, happy faces and stuff like that. Just so you know, our members all feel motivated, and hopefully we have way more people next year, you know, being able to congratulate them. Also, it's not that we, you know, forgot about persons that are doing CXCs, but you know, exams were pushed back, results are coming out at the end of October, I believe. So maybe we'll have them in another session to acknowledge their achievement. So thank you everyone, and I hope you have a good night.
Thank you guys. Next, we will have the results of the logo competition. And this will be done by Precious Holligan, the secretary.
Hi, good evening, everyone. This evening, despite the minor delays, I'm here to present the results of the Product Discovery Logo Competition. We came up with the idea of a logo competition in hopes of revamping the look of Product Discovery Barbados. And I must say, the contestants did not disappoint. Without further ado, we have our runner-up, Chanel Blackman, who wins a pair of Away T20 True wireless earbuds. And here we can see Chanel's contribution. And we have our winner, Aaliyah Sampson, who wins a Komi P8 smartwatch. And here we can also see her contribution and her prize. Congratulations to our winners, and we thank you for your contribution to the process of our revamp. Thank you. Back over to you, Adriana.
Thank you, Precious. I'll now open the floor for any other business. Again, you can just raise your hand or type in the chat. I don't see anything as yet. So if there are any questions related to any presentations that happened today or any suggestions for any future plans, if anyone wants to make any donations, you can email us or contact any of the directors or any members of the executive team, and we will respond to you. If there are no further questions or comments, we can adjourn the meeting today. Thank you all for coming and giving us your time.
There's a hand up, Adriana.
I see from Adam. I'm just going to ask you to unmute.
Hello. Okay. Very quick question. I looked at the financials and I think Mr. King had mentioned 100 schools for the boat project. And we talked about getting some donations that might come in and putting them on side, not as profit, but as some other word. In the grand scheme of things, particularly the boat project, one of the challenges was getting money. but the kind of money that we appear to need seems like you can't put aside this or pay it forward and put down 50,000. If we talk about, I don't know, 100 schools, if we talk about 10 schools, we can be talking about 6 figures. And from the discussions, it sounds like stockpiling 6-figure money is something that would be very challenging within the, I don't know, articles, bylaws, whatever it is, for a nonprofit organization. We experienced where you had some donors shout that if them ain't the only donor, they got to do all sorts of cut and skinning to determine where the rest of the money in the donation comes. And it seems to me like it is really an obstacle to actually gain money. So the question is, do you have a plan to deal with the obstacles so that you could go out there and encourage some of the folks to come up with some like serious money within the constraints of the Project Discovery, or not even Project Discovery, the non-profit and the other money laundering and terrorists and whatever challenges we face? Is there a plan to overcome that? Because if you don't, in my opinion, you got to be able to access large amount of money quickly to take advantage of some of the opportunities that might present themselves. Mute.
Let me try to answer some of that. This is the organization is Project Discovery Inc., which is like an umbrella organization. And then there's Project Discovery Barbados, and then Project Discovery for each of the other island chapters. BOLT was a project under Project Discovery Inc. So the financial statement that you saw this evening was a financial statement for Project Discovery Barbados. That's not a financial statement for Project Discovery BOLT. So that's one thing. You are right, however, that there are some barriers. And you are also very right that we encountered some challenges where persons want to be a sole sponsor for the purposes of marketing themselves, but what they think is enough money to get the project done is very far from enough money to get the project done. For example, we received about $70-something thousand, just under $71,000 in donations, and we were able to almost do 3 schools with that. We are about $7,000 short of what we would need to do 3 schools. And that may sound like a lot of money until you come into the understanding that some of the proposals that have gone elsewhere to get a single school done you can get a proposal in excess of $100,000 for a single school. So for us to be able to do, let's say 3 schools with $75,000 or $80,000 is an amazing achievement. And we can do that because of the contributions that come from students who volunteer and young people who volunteers and advisors who volunteer, and the labor cost comes down, and that's how we're able to do stuff like that. But the cost of the stuff that you're buying doesn't really come down. So there is a need to develop a strategy, and we're going to, the Project Discovery Inc. has been looking at it, but we are going to need to broaden that scope because we would like to take the BOLT project into other Caribbean countries, because Barbados is not the only country that has lost millions and millions of student hours of instructional time. Barbados is not the only country that is struggling with health protocols and only 10 or 15 people being able to go into a classroom, vaccinated or not. So this will continue And what the boat project does is puts the school in a position where all of the students who are at home, because of the protocols, can be taught at exactly the same time that the students who are in front of the teacher is being taught, because the teacher's image, the board, all the songs and everything from the classroom are transmitted over the internet through our system to the people who are at home. And anything that the people at home want to share, just like how we are doing it now, will be transmitted into the classroom over the internet. This is the only solution that has been presented to the government that we are aware of. And this comes from credible sources. No other solution has been presented to the government that can do this. But it isn't going to cost 5 cents, because the devices that are used are expensive, and the devices that are used all come from overseas. And then we have to configure devices. So Mr. Clark takes the students through training to put devices together in ways that solve problems after they have determined where the problem areas are. So this is a situation in which we really need corporate Barbados and other entities, maybe internationally, to come forward. And if you are in another country, Jamaica, Trinidad and Tobago, Grenada, St. Kitts and Nevis, and you believe that you have access to enough to have this implemented in a school or 2 schools or 10 schools or whatever, you let us know and we can work together to make it happen in your country as well. But we need the money to buy the equipment to get it done. And this is not, what we are discussing here is not something that is unknown to the powers that be. And you can interpret that up to the highest level that you want to go to. The powers that be know, one, that the system works because it has functioned in, it has been tested in about 8 schools in Barbados, and it is currently set up in 1, and it was taken out of 2. So it was working, and it was asked to be, and the administration of the school asked to have it removed. Them don't want it in the school, even though it working, and they haven't got no other solution. Mind blowing. Anyhow, if we're going to get it out there, parents have to advocate, students have to wake up and advocate, because it's your life that is being whittled away and washed down the drain. And people who really care about their country and about the development of their country. A Project Discovery had a fact that was going to cause 1,000 young people to come to it. Every commercial entity in Barbados will want to be a part of that. But we have a solution that will cause 1,000 students per school to be educated. And we can hardly find anybody that wants to support that. So we're stuck. We don't really know what kind of, we have to really work hard at trying to figure out what kind of strategy to use. So what we're asking is, if there are people on this call who are au fait with major fundraising strategies and stuff like that, or who got some network that can help, please come to our assistance, because we have everything else. We got the skill set, we got the hardware, and we have the design. We have everything else that's required for every student in Barbados to be taught every single time their class is scheduled for the entire period. And right now, it isn't happening. That's why we respond to that.
Thanks.
I don't see any more raised hands or questions in the chat. So I will adjourn the meeting now. Again, thank you very much for attending. Thank you for your time. And if you do have further questions, assistance, or suggestions, you can contact any of the directors or executive members, or just reach out on any of the social media platforms. Or email addresses are available. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Goodbye. Take care.
Well done, everybody. Thank you very much. Good night.